Here's an idea. Rather than being an issue of technology and science, it could be because we, as humans, see ourselves separate to nature and the land, that the environmental crisis that we are facing today has been able to occur. Stay with me. Over the past century, we have encountered some of the largest scaling, globally spanning environmental and social crises seen in human history. Through our use of new technologies, we are facing new challenges in our relationship with the environment, seen in things like climate change or animal and plant extinction due to habitat destruction. But let's go back a few steps. Humankind, as we know it today, is a result of the biological evolution of life on Earth. And for a large period of our time under the title humankind, our existence was literally bound to the health of ecosystems and the natural environments around us. Then, about 11,000 years ago, with the dawn of agricultural practices, we changed from being organisms who adapted themselves to different environments to being organisms who adapted their environments to suit their needs. Our evolution then shifted to being primarily anthropological, building populations and cities. Jump forward a few hundred years through the scientific and industrial revolutions, and we can see an explosion of productivity and invention, but unlike previous evolutionary leaps, this one was cultural. Here, our notions of identity shifted and began to come from the needs and the desires of the individual, separate to the environment around them, primarily due to humans' abilities to change their environment at will through access to information and technological tools. This idea space has captured the attention of many fields interested in topics relating to ecology, technology, culture, and the environment. Interdisciplinary scholars, social scientists, and philosophers spend a lot of time looking at how we construct identities and how these identities shape our behavior in the real world. To do this, cultural objects like language, race, media, arts, clothing, or religion can be used to give us clues to understand where an individual may place value or construct ethics. If the environmental crisis is indeed an issue of culture, this approach could be used to identify the roots of environmentally unfriendly behavior and find relevant solutions to it, beyond tote bags and recycling attempts. If this is sounding vague, let me try solidifying the idea with the help of Leonardo Boff. Boff is a South American scholar who analyzes the human-nature relationship and argues that environmental suffering and human suffering are linked, and that the current environmental crisis is therefore an issue of culture as much as it is an issue of technology. Boff describes modern culture as one that values economy, power, technology, and wealth, overvaluing life, common good, and the unification of living beings. Boff's subsequent emphasis is an urgent call for a new culture that restructures human relationships amongst themselves and towards the environment. So, if natural ecologies are this important to us, not only for survival, but for quality of life, why are we facing scales of environmental loss and destruction at a rate faster than ever before? Well, to answer this, we would have to try decoding what global cultures are dominant and encourage this type of behavior, which we can do with the help of Lynn White. Whilst written over half a decade ago, The Historical Roots of Our Ecological Crisis offers a criticism of the Judeo-Christian tradition for fostering a worldview of dualisms between humanity and nature, which enabled attitudes of conquest and exploitation to occur so rapidly and to such broad extents. The burden of responsibility placed on Christianity by White has been denounced, but it leaves us with a ton of new directions in which to explore and address ecological concerns. White focuses on what modern cultural patterns facilitated a shift from being part of an ecology to humans considering themselves not only separate to, but superior to nature and the natural environments. The central thesis here is that what people do about their ecology depends on what they think about themselves in relation to the natural environments around them, and that the human ecology will inevitably be conditioned by their beliefs about nature. To White, the technology we design is a reflection of the dogma of humans' ownership of nature. He argues that no amount of science or technological progress will assist with solving the environmental crisis unless humans find a new way to think about their relationship with nature first. These eco-philosophical arguments for a culture in which humans perceive themselves as part of nature rather than separate to it is, at its core, a moral one. Our current society seems to value growth and finance, seeing the natural environment only as a resource to create these, rather than as something of value on its own, and our technological use reflects that. This contemporary culture of creation and consumerism is having terrible consequences for the planet and increasingly for us as well. So, what do you think? Is the environmental crisis a scientific issue or a social one? Can we blame the technologies that are destroying the lands at a rate faster than before, or the people that are using these technologies for profit? Or do we have to look a little deeper at how modern society has a culture in which humans see themselves as separate to nature as a cause for the environmental issues that we have today? And what does all of this mean for efforts to solve the environmental crisis? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and we can continue the conversation there. Thanks for watching. This video was created for the 531 course as part of the Masters of Educational Technologies at the University of British Columbia. If you'd like to know what is being researched there, as well as all the references to the information discussed and the pictures shown in this video, you can find them in the description below.